Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of News of the Pews, where you can count on unapologetic 2A advocacy because gun rights are human rights. And that means even the people in the upside down have the right to bear arms. And I like to keep an eye on what those cheeky buggers get up to, because Australians are like a crystal ball for what domestic control freaks will try to get away with right here. And now Tasmanian control freaks are trying to limit recreational shooters to just 5 guns, which is really just transparently spiteful and a frankly hilarious failure of logic. The law is, of course, a knee-jerk reaction to the terrorist attack at Bondi, but as draconian as it is, 5 guns is kind of a lot to carry. It's more than the terrorists used, and, well, it's more than enough to carry out a great evil in public, so I don't know what they're even trying to accomplish.
I don't really know what the point is.
But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without you. So if you are in a comfortable place in life, please help us stay in a comfortable place in life by contributing to our tip jars down there in the doobly-doo, by joining this channel, by clicking the super thanks on the bottom right of this video, or buying one of these sick t-shirts for just 15 bucks. Now, if you're not in a comfortable place though, remember, you don't owe us a thing. Please enjoy this 2A propaganda at the price of free 99 and continue to pray for us. If I asked you to make a list of occupations known for the smartest people, it might include engineers or doctors, maybe even writers or musicians. Police officer probably doesn't make the list though. Not because they're known for being stupid, but because cops are, well, not exactly world-renowned for their intellect. It is true that New London versus Jordan established that police departments are allowed to reject applicants if they are too smart. And yeah, I get it. The dumber they are, the less likely they are to get any uppity ideas about human rights and civil rights. But I never paid much heed to the idea that departments are intentionally selecting for dumbasses. I mean, I always figured there was at least a baseline requirement for intelligence somewhere north of a sea cucumber, but sadly, it seems I was wrong. Because a Louisiana cop just locked up a man over a stolen gun when he ran the patent number instead of the serial number. The gun was not actually stolen, of course, and the man was released eventually, some 20 hours later, but the cops refused to accept any evidence that the gun was not stolen. Even worse, it all happened at a traffic stop for a burned out license plate light. That means there was, and never could have been, any probable cause that a crime had been committed. And that means there was no probable cause for a search. And that means they violated his Fourth Amendment rights, even running the gun in the first place. To be clear, some lower courts are tolerant of police misconduct, so there is a bit of confusion on this issue. Some folks insist that if the police have the gun legally through a Terry frisk, then they can run the serial. The correct interpretation here is a Terry frisk is for officer safety, not evidentiary purposes, so they do not have legal access to the information, even if they do have legal access to the physical object. But there's another slightly stickier probable cause issue here. See, even if the cop in this case wasn't a mouth-breathing imbecile, even if the serial number on the gun did come back stolen, does a potentially erroneous database in some other state satisfy the standards for probable cause for arrest for a stolen item?
I honestly don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer because my parents were married. I do know the man has filed suit against the New Roads, Louisiana Police Department, and I hope he wins. But what's even more troubling isn't just how these cops oppressed this particular man, though. What's even more troubling is the culture which exists in far too many departments where possession of a firearm is assumed by default to be criminal and threatening from the very beginning. We've seen several cases of cops immediately shooting a person who lawfully possessed a firearm in his or her own home. We saw Louisiana cops whinging to the local media about how they can no longer lock up young men for simply having a gun after permitless carry went into effect. And we have seen examples of police departments using gun control laws to target vulnerable populations. So while this whole thing worked out in the end, leaving the man with nothing more serious than an arrest record and a lifelong contempt for all cops, it's just another point in a pattern of abuse from cops. Now they're gonna say I hate all cops. That's absolutely false. I hate bad cops. What do you guys think? Am I being unfair to police officers in general by reporting examples of bad cops? The District of Columbia Court of Appeals just ruled that DC's standard capacity magazine ban is unconstitutional. The fun part is, it was a split 3-judge panel with a Trump and Obama appointee in the majority against a Bush W. appointee chief judge. Writing for the majority, Judge Joshua Deal said, "Magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition are ubiquitous in our country, numbering in the hundreds of millions, accounting for about half of the magazines in the hands of our citizenry, and they come standard with the most popular firearms sold in America today. Because these magazines are arms in common and ubiquitous use by law-abiding citizens across this country, we agree with Benson and the United States that the district's outright ban on them violates the Second Amendment." And this ruling found the law facially unconstitutional, not just some as-applied ruling or any of that nonsense. But it also does not set precedent anywhere outside of DC. Still, it's encouraging for similar cases. Well, folks, round's complete on 2, but before I go, your moment of completion. I love you.